Hey guys, it's Ivory. Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm showing you all of my favorite makeup brushes. I'm not showing you all my makeup brushes. I'm only showing the ones that I think are most important in a brush set. This video is geared towards people that are more beginner / intermediate when it comes to makeup. They are the basics to what I think a great makeup brush set should be. And I will also be using the brushes to apply my makeup. So it's not just going to be me talking about brushes. I will be actually applying my makeup today. Before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Wednesdays and Sundays and post occasional bonus videos throughout the week. All right, so let's get started. Before we get into the makeup application part, I wanted to talk about makeup kits in general. A lot of people, when they're first starting out with makeup, they would rather have something in a bundle. They don't want to pick and choose what brushes because it can be overwhelming. There are a lot of brushes out there. A really great brush set option is the BS Mall Kabuki Makeup Brush set. This is from Amazon. There are, I think, 14 pieces in here and retail for $11. Inside you get like foundation brushes, blush brushes, and you also get a really great variety of eye brushes as well. There's this liner brush with like a spoolie. You got your flat shader brushes, your pencil brushes, transition shade brushes. This is a new set, but I bought this about 2 years ago. They added quite a few more brushes over the years, but I've never had any problems with them. They haven't really shed. Nothing is wrong with the bristles. They're still super soft. They are synthetic. They keep their shape really well. I love them. Another great brush set option is the BH Cosmetics Marble Luxe set. Again, you will get a couple of face and eye brushes. They are on the more expensive side compared to the first option I just said, but BH Cosmetics has sales all the time. I got mine for about 40% off, 30% off, I can't remember. But I think with the sale, it equated to about $2 per brush, which is not bad at all. So those are the two really great brush sets that I recommend if you want to get something in a bundle and not have to look at brushes individually. For foundation, I'm gonna go in with this round kabuki brush. This is the BS Mall Face Round Brush. This was my favorite foundation brush for so long. I have kind of replaced it with the Juno sponge. If you are ever in a hurry and you need to like leave really fast, the sponge takes a lot longer. So if I'm looking for a quick application and a good application, I will use this foundation brush instead. I really want to just focus on the brushes today, so I'm not really going to talk about what products I'm using, but as always, all the products I use will be in the description box below. And if you didn't know, all my brushes are actually in the description box below as well too, in all of my videos, not just this one. So anytime you see a brush that you're not sure about, you can always just look down there. With this foundation brush, what I like to do is kind of just like swipe this all around my face, and then wherever I want a little more coverage, I will go back in with my foundation and then just stipple it where it needs a little bit more foundation. I've never had issues with this creating brush strokes. It's always looked pretty good to me. For concealer, I don't really use a brush. I have had concealers where there was no doe foot, like you had to squeeze it and use a brush. If you have a pot concealer or a concealer that does not have a doe foot, I recommend a flat shader brush. The one I use is from Wet n Wild. It does not have a name on it. I'm so sorry, but it looks like this. It is pretty flat. It's not too big. It's a little, I mean, it's too big for the eyes, but it's perfect for underneath the eyes and creating that upside down triangle that most people are trying to do. And as far as blending concealer out, I've always used a wet beauty sponge. But if I'm in a really big hurry and I don't have time to like be wetting this and blending it out, I'll just go in with my foundation brush again and I will just quickly kind of just like blend it out. But I don't swipe at all. I just stipple and pat it in, and then that's it. All right, so I usually set my entire face using a beauty sponge. If you have dry to combo skin and you don't want to use a sponge because it does make things very matte, if you are looking to have a more natural finish, I suggest using a giant brush like so. This is from BH Cosmetics, the Marble Luxe brush, and then going into either your pressed foundation or a loose powder like this, and this will just cover your entire face really quick. And a lot of the times when I'm using a loose powder all over the face like this, it can look a little washed out. So I will use the same brush to go into my pressed foundation powder, and this will just give it a very sheer coverage, but it does bring some life back into my face and some color. For contouring, my favorite brush, hands down, for doing this is the e.l.f. powder brush. It is a kind of fluffy brush, but it's pretty small, and it just fits perfectly right below my cheekbone to just get that perfect size contour. Like, it's not too wide, it's not too tiny, because sometimes if you use a really tiny brush, it just looks like a line. But if it's too big, you have like basically bronzer all over the face and it's too low. But I feel like this is a really perfect size. And as you can see from doing one side, it's not too low. It's blended out pretty nicely, and it's perfect for like all over the forehead, so it's not gonna go too low into my forehead. And what's nice is all the e.l.f. brushes, and the Wet n Wild ones for the most part, they're about $1. They're super affordable. And if this isn't $1, wait for it to go on sale, because it is $1. Not that it's a lot more, but it can get down to $1. Just trying to save you some money, you know? To contour my nose, I'm using a dense shader brush. So it has a dome top, and then if you flip it to its side, it is kind of skinny. With a nose contour, you don't want something super fluffy and round, just because then the lines will be too far out. It'll look like you have a big nose. You also don't want something too skinny, otherwise it just looks like you have two straight lines. So this is something that's nice, that's in between. It's not too big, it's not too small. And also the brushes don't have a lot of give to it and not a lot of bend. So when I apply pressure to it, I'm not gonna worry about it like spreading out and making the lines look wider. For blush, I'm going in with the ES03 brush. It looks like this. It is a dome brush. This has a little bit of bend to it. I like my blush brushes to have a little bit of give. This actually packs a lot of blush. So what I like to do is kind of just drag it all the way up to my temples, and then kind of just stipple in the rest of the blush. If you get a brush that is too stiff, what you'll notice is where you apply the powder, it'll be the most pigmented there, and it won't spread as evenly throughout the rest of the cheek. When you have a brush that is more wispy like this, it's very easy to maneuver the product so that you can disperse it evenly. Maybe I'm not the best person to explain why I use the brushes that I use. To brighten my under eyes, I don't always do this step because lately I've been going in for a more natural under eye. But if I do want to brighten it up, I will use this really small domed brush. And this isn't super stiff. I like to do sweeping motions with my banana powder, but it's like a perfect size. It'll go under your eyes and it won't disturb your blush. You can apply this to the forehead and the bridge of your nose, and it's like a nice size for the chin. We're gonna move on to our eyes now. I think if you are a beginner, you really only need 3 brushes to create any type of look. It's not gonna be super complex, but you can create like a daytime and an evening look. The first brush I'm gonna recommend is a transition shade brush. It's just gonna be your typical fluffy brush. This one is by BH Cosmetics. Anything with a faux marble handle like this is from BH Cosmetics. And this is really great for just dispersing product all throughout the lid. And honestly, on a day-to-day, if I'm really lazy, a transition shade is really all you need. You could just add some bronzer to your lid and just add it all over, and it just automatically makes it look like you tried way more. All right, the next brush I'm gonna recommend after the transition shade one is a flat shader brush. I'm gonna recommend 2. This one is like way more flat and more skinny, and this second one is a dense shader brush. This one is by e.l.f. If you are looking to pack a metallic or a shimmer on the lid and you kind of just want to apply it and not have it be super precise, you just kind of want it to be like a gradient and fade, then I think this is a really great option. If you are looking to make a more precise or like a cut crease on your lid, then I would say that the skinnier flat shader brush is for you. The thing about this one is it doesn't pick up as much shimmer or metallic as the dense shader brush will, but it is more precise, which is why I said I have both. So if I'm trying to do a cut crease or a halo eye, I will use this one. But if I'm just packing on a shimmer shade and I don't really care about the precision, then this one is better because it does pick up more product. I'm gonna go ahead and use the dense shader brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply a metallic all over the lid. As you can see, it picks up quite a bit. And I did wet this brush with most of my metallics. What I like to do is wet my brush to apply the first layer, and then when I'm done with the first layer, I like to go in with my finger and add another layer just so that it is way more vibrant. And then the last brush that I think a beginner should have is a pencil brush. This is really great for the inner corner as well as the brow bone to highlight. It just really gets in there and is like really precise. And you could also use this to add highlight to your nose as well. All right, so with the 3 brushes, I was able to create a complete look. I think the 3 brushes alone are plenty for a beginner, and you could create a lot of great eye looks. You might have to dip into different colors using the same brush. That's about it. Or you could buy multiple of the same type of brush. That's fine too. Okay, I'm gonna move on to more complex brushes. These are for people that are more comfortable with makeup but just can't find the right brushes to do what they want it to do. So the first is going to be the e.l.f. eyeliner brush. It is this flat brush like this. It's very thin and it's completely flat at the top. I use this all the time to tight line under my lash line. I typically do not like a really smoked out lower lash line, so this gets really close to it. I'm gonna blend that out with our transition shade brush. So the next brush I wanted to talk about was the e.l.f. eye blending brush. It is this small brush and it's very short. This is really great for packing on pigment and wanting it to stay in that exact spot. So what I usually use this for is to deepen my outer V, so I get a lot of color concentrated right there. And the last brush that I think is essential is an eyeliner brush. This is for creating a wing, or you could also use this to fill in your brows, but I use a pencil to fill in my brows, so I don't have to worry about a brow brush. This is the B Pro eyeliner brush. It's small. I feel like these are pretty standard. No matter what brand it is, they all kind of look the same. So I'm just gonna quickly make a wing off of camera. Okay, and the last brush is the highlighter brush. If you've been following me for a while, you know I really don't ever highlight. But when I do use highlight, my favorite brush is the MintPear M64 brush. This came in my Ipsy bag. It's got a very thick handle. Like, this is a girthy girl. Okay, she's thick. This fits perfectly on the tops of my cheekbones. I've tried using this multiple ways. I've tried using this as a contour. It's a little too small for that. I've tried using this as an eyeshadow brush. It's way too big for that. And this is perfect for highlighting. Bristles are super soft. I think it's just like a really great size. So that is it, guys. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, don't forget to like this video and feel free to comment down below what other types of videos you'd like to see from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.